Yeah, back again. A couple hours of nap. Had to. I was listening to one of the local news stations um, doing an interview with First Lady Jill Biden and LA City Mayor Karen Bass. I'm wondering if they had their staff did research on what the Olympics were like back in 1984 compared to now, because if they were doing the online research, some of the sources I've been digging through, they don't have them anymore. Just going to be buried in a history book somewhere. I was hoping and maybe just dig up some information that would have been something to look at, but apparently there's nothing out there for me to look at except Wikipedia, and that's about it. Right now it's 9:14 in the morning, West Coast time, Saturday the 27th of July, 2024. For those who've actually subscribed to Peacock, yeah, I did. Well, I'm subscribed after the Olympics are over. Getting too damn expensive out there for entertainment. I can go on a railing on this one, but I'm trying to keep track of what the Olympic events are that I can actually watch and root for, even if it's going to be just a replay. But what ticks me off is that even different sites that I try to go on to get information about previous Olympics, they always give me a little bit of an issue over it. I mean, they'll tell me about the medal count, maybe people participating, but not about the area themselves, not about the environment, not about things that have happened during that time in 1984 that mattered a great deal. And I could go through the Wikipedias because they can have some information, but not much. I talk about the venues, but they won't talk about the personal stories about people living in that kind of time. And I'd like to find out more about that information, but I can't find the information because it's so damn archived. I can't even dig it out. It upsets me a great deal. Even for some of the services that I get into, they just don't have it available. Britannica will tell you specifics, but not about the times. How people were dealing with it, what they were dealing with. I mean, they'll tell you the current events, and that's about it. But how did people get through it from here and there? How did people react in the state of California, actually in Southern California, on how to deal with the traffic situation, or how did they deal with emergency situations that would happen, and if the hospitals were getting screwed up? I barely remembered anything about the damn thing as a teenager. I mean, here I am, 58 years old, trying to struggle with what happened in 1984, which was preteens, and I'm dealing with watching in some of the venues on screen how they looked somewhat full, and a few of them looked pretty damn empty. They needed more history, but they needed more people filling the butts in those seats. The only one venue that I went over to for Greco-Roman wrestling, they were like about 25-30% capacity. I guess maybe there's some of a lackluster regarding the excitement of the Olympics coming into Los Angeles, and now they're trying to milk whatever we've got out here to recreate it all over again. But can they? I've got a question on that one. Can they actually get the better magic than what we hadn't been able to deal with? I'm not looking for the listing of medals or people winning it. I'm looking for behind the scenes. And those are probably in the form of hardcovers, if they are available out there. because the online stuff doesn't have the personal stories of what people had to go through in dealing with the Olympics. Now we keep looking at the homeless and saying, okay, we got to shove them around left and right. What about the regular people trying to get through life? Back then, we did not have the trains. Back then, we did not have the monorails or our subway system. That came back in the 90s and later on. But in 84, we didn't have it. We had a bus system. Smoking, choking, lead lined, lead fumed RTD, Rapid Transit District. We didn't have the Metro Transportation Authority. We thought we were up to speed on this one. Hardly. The challenges today are a hell of a lot worse than they are back then. Yes, we can get the technology up. Yes, we can shove people in a spam in a can, shove them one side or another side in the tubes. And then we also have to get the personal touches available. Make sure everything's so pretty and perfect at this point. And yes, we've got World Cup games. We've got a few other events happening over here that we may get the world to look at us and say, oh, well, Los Angeles will be a happening place for it. We're hoping maybe that Hollywood will still contain the luster needed like it had a long time ago, the stigma that we used to foster. Was people can make a movie anywhere else and with special effects, I don't know. Are we outdated, outclassed, and not going to last? Yes, I live in Antelope Valley. Yes, I live in a small hick town called Roseman, next to an air base. There are no venues out here to attract people except out of melt during the summer. And if the summers are going to get worse than what they were back in 1984, that's going to be a different story altogether. We haven't got any entertainment out here. We just got desert region. You want to see aircraft? Well, we've got some static displays right by Plant 42. It's a sandwich between Palmdale and Lancaster. But there's an air park in there somewhere. Blackbird. And an old aircraft we retired. Showed a static display. Non-profits run the place. Manage it. But there's literally nothing out here for anybody else to see in the desert. Except the desert. Except crime, slime, and everything else going on like a normal city would have. And yes, we would have transportation to and fro. People commute from the Lancaster station all the way to points down below. And then there's Acton. Actually, there's Palmdale. Palmdale's got nothing except for malls. Not much activity because stores are shutting down. Doesn't feel any homier anyway. And then there's Acton. People come in, come off. You get about 1 or 2 minutes just to get on a damn train. Haul ass. The train system's called the Metrolink. Managed by a Metro Transportation Authority and by others. Train will go through Santa Clarita, Valencia area. They're nice areas to look at for outlying communities. Go through the tunnel. Go past a garbage collection area. Lovely smell if you can smell it. But inside it's hermetically sealed, so you can smell the recycled air. Once it hits the San Fernando Valley, then you're really there, aren't you? San Fernando, if you are of trying to capture culture, that's another area to capture. I'm going on Google Maps. No, I haven't had my coffee yet, guys. Let's get to them out for it. I know it's supposed to be cooling off, but still. Times I miss my coffee. Okay, back to Google Maps, boys and girls. And others. Said before, it's transportation. I mean, nothing out here in the Antelope Valley would be attracting people left and right, except that's about it. Except that's it. Okay, so if you're coming from the Antelope Valley and you're going through the passes and stuff, if you want scenery of canyons, we got them. How would you like ash? Burned? Fried? Crispy? No green. We've already been going through fire seasons out here, so I don't think the canyons would be worthwhile today. Except we're telling people not to do anything stupid. Well, they're going to do something stupid. Why? Because they are. But if there is any green area, may I suggest you're a highway. And just keep your hands to yourself and keep the stuff in the car. We like to keep the areas without fires. Thank you very much. We have people living in the canyon areas. But if you're taking a train, you get used to reacting. Go through the rustic area of the canyon areas until you wind up. Oh, let's see, about to the. Well, just come over to the 14 freeway again, heading south. They'll get you hooked up to Valencia. Said before, not much. You see your communities over there. We don't have a direct line to Magic Mountain. You'll have to get off and get the local buses. Get them up in that area, especially if you happen to get out to Valencia. See Tragic Mountain and have fun. Good luck. But not much out here to deal with anyway. Then you get through Santa Clarita, again, neighborhoods. But as I said before, if you want to experience Mexican culture, or Latino, it shows you how to touch. I am with the San Fernando Valley, but back then, yeah. The train would stop around, where the hell was it at? Somewhere, San Fernando. Closer to an airstrip, but you'd be discovering what the area's like. Of course, it won't go through Hanson Dam area. Then again, what else is over there anyway? But as for venues, for Olympic venues, we haven't got anything except for cycles going round and round and round a loop. That's about it. You want to continue traveling on, so they hit mountainsides. Head through, head through. I'll see, past Suns Valley area. You want to see an airport? We got Burbank Airport. Of course, you're going to have to stop off over at Burbank General, specifically out there, and catch another Metrolink hitting up in that area. But basically, your major stop is going to be at a transportation hub. Burbank downtown. From there, you catch the buses that will take you into the San Fernando Valley in case you want to see what valley life is like currently. Back then, different story altogether. But we didn't have trains during that time. We still had gas-powered buses with fumes and smog. They tried to keep it cleared off, but didn't do too much for that one, did they? But with the transportation that we have right now, as it is, but there's no subway. No, because from Burbank, the next stop is Union Station. And there you can catch all the subways you want. At least some of them anyway. The rest of them have to go at different points. Now, if you still wanted to go to the infamous Universal Studios Hollywood, there's a long way, and then there's another long way from Burbank. So before Burbank has a hub, it's got several buses that go into the valley, not to mention into Burbank and Glendale. They also have, let's see, Amtrak, Pacific Surfliner. I'll take you. And then a Metrolink will take you as well. As far as to the west end of the San Fernando Valley, and that's about it. And people use it as a commute. When I go to the airport, that's where you go. I don't know what's so special about airports. Still trying to go through reconstruction all the time. Trying to redesign itself all over again. Some of the designs that they have are pretty damn ugly looking. But they're trying to expand their airport. But they still have to deal with the community at large. Oh, the community doesn't like them very much. They like the business, but they can't stand the people in the area of the airport. No, because the air traffic coming in and out scares the hell out of them. But this is an international hub anyway. So if they're coming in for the Olympics, they got to find a way to get to them. So they would have to get the hub. They would have to get the Amtrak. It'd been better if they actually got the Metrolink, because that's the better way to get into Union Station, and then from there you're lost. But talking about that little diversion from the Burbank Airport getting into the valley, I mean, yeah, it'll show you different portions of the San Fernando Valley. Areas that I used to grow up in, and other areas I'm wondering why the hell I did that in the first place. You'll see the towns, you'll see the cities, you'll see crime, slime, and everything else crawling around. They won't show you an automatic. They will not show you an automotive plant that shut down about between 30 and 40 years ago, and turned itself into a shopping center called the Plant, in honor of the GM plant that used to have manufacturing of automobiles coming out, and used to employ hundreds, if not thousands, of people in the area. Now scattering few to be employed. Retail, health, service sector. And while you're taking the trip, you're going to see certain areas of town that is not exciting. Except maybe for an occasional car chase. If it's not advertised on news, maybe it'll be a better one. If not, well, everyone gets into the act, don't they? You'll see a squadron of helicopters, or maybe at least one or two, watching a chase go by. Turn on the news on the local stations. You'll be able to watch it, get some popcorn, and just enjoy the show. But on the streets, a different story altogether. And that particular train that you're still going on west in the San Fernando Valley, more. Oh, you get to pass by Van Nuys Airport. Oh boy, boys and girls, Van Nuys Airport. Before the sprawl of the urbanization of the San Fernando Valley, this area used to be a military base. testing and manufacturing and training people to fly, especially if you're going into war. But it was also private airstrip a long time ago, before World War II kicked in. Dirt place and have air races. That would have been something to see in the skies. Without the commercial airlines, air races. Single single person in a souped up prop job, racing around things. You'd hear the engines whine like crazy and know that one of these here days or one of these here seconds the pilots are going to get it. Engine's going to go screwy and then crash and burn into something. It was always dangerous if you're a watcher of the whole thing. You don't know if the plane's going to come at you or not. I say that as a joke, but sometimes it wasn't. Even air shows these days still get dangerous, especially airplanes, even if they're properly maintained, something happens and then all hell breaks loose. On the ground and everywhere else. Van Nuys Airport had 2 military bases on it. Actually, I had 1 military base, but 2 squadrons for it, for the Air National Guard. And they were getting sprawl surrounding them left and right on all sides, including manufacturing and different industries around it. But they would also have light to medium aircraft in there, both private and commercial. It wasn't an international hub, but they did have Learjets, still do. Test jobs, and also other light aircraft. One note I would make concerning about when one was going through the Metrolink train station going through San Fernando. There's Whitman Airport over there that hosts of helicopters, of news organizations, and private aircraft to go in and out. They're always busy. So is Van Nuys Airport, but they have to be busy at certain times of the day. So is the Hollywood Burbank, because of the communities that they are surrounded by. And believe me, the city councils have been getting their earfuls every time there's problems concerning about noise pollution, noise abatement, anything else that the airports can drive people crazy with. I mean, we need the aviation, we need the industry out there for it. But the rules and restrictions that they've got being tightened by both local and federal. Oof. Yeah, I've heard a bellyache on those things throughout the decades. Living in the valley, and then after living in the valley, I lost track of it. But I imagine there's still a lot of bellyaching about those places. That's for damn sure. One runway, just one runway, north and south. They were at one time able to be equipped to deal with heavy-duty equipment coming in and out. They could deal with C-130s. And they had air shows going on every year for a couple of decades. I remember my brother and I watching those things nearly every year. And we also seen the last one back in the mid to late 90s. They had already lost a base. Air National Guard's already moved out. He moved out to Point Hueneme, Oxnard area, up north. Communications and transportation squadrons. But when they were here, you could set your clocks to the aircraft coming in and out. To the heavy-duty transports, you know what time it was. It was something to see about 2 or 3 lumbering Hercules coming in and out, flying in the area, and have to avoid the civilian traffic of the commercials coming in and out. And if you're a resident, you know about the air traffic ceilings that you had to deal with all the time. Not to mention looking at the aircraft coming in and out nearly every hour in the morning or at night. About 4 or 5 times you'd see. Oh, no, actually more than that. Because Hollywood Burbank, as I said before, international and national. Oof. The flight line was like from west to east. If you're Van Nuys, you'd have to circle around to get the north and west corridor going on without getting hit by the commercials. If that wasn't bad enough, try being a helicopter pilot in Southern California. There are airports out there you had to avoid like crazy because of air traffic considerations. You had to watch out because of airlines coming in, airlines coming out, and if there are special areas that are sealed off, and you had to get a special permission from the air traffic controllers on that one. And if you couldn't, you're screwed. Especially when when you're one of the news agencies trying to get the information necessary about a chase going through neighborhoods left and right. Believe me, we got a lot of beauties on those damn things. But anyway, continuing that course of the Metrolink, it goes in a slanted north, actually west by northwest, going through residential, then commercial areas, ending up out in where they ended up out in. It was out nowhere in Canoga Park that they would stop because there would be no more activity. Street of Devonshire and Canoga area. Well, but that's where the passenger line would stop for the Metrolink. Hell, you can also catch an Amtrak out there too. But Metrolink would stop at Chatsworth. Amtrak and commercials would go through this area sometimes and head out north. If you were taking a Pacific Surfliner and you wanted to go up north, you'd be going through this area. Okay, heading back to Burbank. Good old Burbank here. So once you're out in the Burbank area, the train would still continue to go through some of the rougher areas of Los Angeles and be passing by the usual graffiti that you would see in your own area. Go through along San Fernando Road, past Rail Yard for the Metrolink service areas. It's always interesting seeing the service areas, seeing how the trains are being serviced and stuck there. Not to mention water and power areas for different territories. Underneath the freeways, past all the buildings and stuff. Of course, in the hillsides, you would be seeing Griffith Park. Griffith Park holds the LA Zoo out there, not to mention the hell of a golf course and recreation areas for people to enjoy. They used to have in part of the park area pony rides. They had them for decades, about 3 or 4, about changing hands and owners, but animal rights activists said, nope, this is cruel and unusual for these guys. That's unhealthy for them. So by a city decree, no more pony rides ever again, unless there's going to be another company doing it. Unless they can also tell people that's supposed to be. If you want the peace of the dead, I'm not kidding about that one there. Because in Griffith Park, they also have Mount Sinai Memorial Park, mortuaries. They also have Forest Lawn. If I'm going to continue to go back to Burbank, back to that stop again up in Burbank downtown. Now keep in mind, I did say that there are bus lines to head out in that area. It is a transportation hub. And part of those hubs have the lines going into different areas of town. The one things I haven't seen that you probably would need private transportation. Go to the rental companies for that one. Because there are certain areas that you would have to look at and just feel part of it. Not feel like you're just a visitor looking down. Given the respect and things that they deserved. Griffith Park has a lot to offer visitors as well as residents on a constant basis at this point. I mean, there are trails, there are hiking trails, there are dirt bike trails, there are trails, period. But they're also highly flammable up in that area, and people have to watch out what's going on. But the major thing that they really have to watch out for is the life forms, is the life out there. Let's do a part 2 on this one, shall we, boys and girls?